Hey folks, welcome back to the Luncheonette. We have two close friends to our little Luncheonette family here. We have Miss Taylor Teasley right in front of me, and we have Miss Tori Hughes to the left of me, to the front of Jordan Redding. And how y'all girls doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I feel like it's been a while, like 3 hours or something like that.
I know.
Like 30 minutes. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. It seems like all the time when y'all with me, it seems long, and then when y'all away, it seems long as well. So y'all really
That's
mess up my
relatable.
time.
Time, man.
Yeah.
Relatable, yeah.
Yeah.
Really
exactly.
mess up my time. So go ahead and we'll start with Taylor. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the whole music thing and how you went from being a hipster in California to
Right.
to moving to Broadway.
Right. This will be a short, long story because I feel like it's a long story. But been a musician my entire life. Parents forced me into piano lessons when I was 4.
Sounds like me.
I didn't like it, but I stuck with it for many, many, many years.
Do you still play?
I dabble, but guitar is more, I feel more passionate about guitar.
She's really
But-
good, though.
I taught myself guitar when I was a teenager. I was like 13. We only need to talk about my age now. But yeah.
And how long have you been playing guitar? Just joking. But do you
I
still,
was like,
when
so
when you did you learn? Was it like very classical, like piano, or like how was it? Like
yeah, it was
sheet
it
music
was
and all
all
that.
sheet music,
Mhm.
reading music,
you still-
classically, contemporary.
Can you still play for Elise? Because I feel like that's like the one thing that every piano player learns.
Probably, I don't know. I haven't done it in a while. It's been many, many years.
I probably can.
You probably can. You're just so talented with.
It's your last name, for goodness sakes.
I know.
Yeah, almost close.
Patrick
Pretty
Furley's.
close.
No,
Curly.
the reason why that song was like huge for me to learn from my mother because
It was her last name.
our family loved The Man from Snowy River, which if you haven't watched it was an old Disney movie. It's about an Australian, basically a horse person, but in the movie the love interest plays for Elise on the piano. So my mom was like, if you're gonna learn piano, like you have to learn that song.
So it was like a person, like, but with a horse head.
How much of the horse person were they?
Well,
Like a centaur?
No, they used to collect. I mean, the Man from Snowy River is a big thing in Australia. Like that's the biggest cowboy story.
Oh.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I went to some musical.
Yeah, you went weird.
Thing, and that's
you went
what-
weird.
Look. Anyways, just carry on, okay? I'm not gonna fight with
But
you today.
anyhow, like he goes and he like his job is to go find the wild horses, bring them in, and train them. To be train horses for the cattlemen. So but one of the songs that the love interest plays on their piano, because the love interest comes from a very rich high class family, so they have a piano, and so they play for Elise, and it's kind of like just a intimate story about the romance is going on during this for Elise piano solo. So that's the reason why it was so important to my mom for me.
Did
to
you learn
that
it?
song. Yeah, I learned it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a minute. Again, we're not talking about age anymore, but it's been a minute since I've played it. But
You should do it.
I agree.
I want to hear it.
Bring it out.
no,
You can learn on guitar.
no. Okay, so
But
Yeah,
yeah,
how
so
that
anyways,
works.
I taught myself guitar, and then I'm gonna do this long story short. All right.
all right.
Went to college, got involved in the performing arts department there. Started playing shows in like Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Rodeo Drive. But like that area, just kind of stuck with it. Found what my sound wasn't, basically, because growing up in the LA vicinity, there's not a ton of country, not a ton of tonal differences.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of was a struggle in a way to find like my sound, because I knew what my sound was. It just didn't sound like anything that I was hearing. And that was kind of hard for me, because I was like, maybe I'm just not good,
I can see that.
But eventually I kind of came around and 2020 when everybody went online. That's when things kind of shifted for me a lot. And that's when I met Patrick, Mr. Southern Fellow right over there. And I just made a lot of connections to Nashville, and
regretted it ever since.
I really have.
Yeah.
Every day of my life.
But you and Tori have a connection. 'Cause
Yeah.
when you started visiting Nashville, you ran into a girl that you tried to avoid at first.
I really did.
Yes, she did.
I really did.
I
And it
talked
wasn't
too
like
much, I guess.
personal. Well, here's the thing. Okay, there's like a whole story behind it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into it because mine will be not a short story. If you tell it, it might
I
be
can
kind
tell
of
it short
short,
if you want.
but you also might not. You
I
might
can
just
try to
end
tell
up
it short.
circling the plane. You
I
might
can
not
try to
land
tell
it.
it short.
Okay.
Okay. We met through a mutual friend one night, and we had a conversation, and we hung out as a group for like 4 hours, and we both went to see separate friends play the same writers round the next day, and I recognized her sitting at the table.
Give or take the first night, though, there was like 8 to 10 people.
Yes,
in the
but
group.
we still talked. Anyway, the next day, I walked in by myself to see my friend play, and I recognized her, so I went and sat down at her table and started talking. Well, she didn't remember me. So the whole time I'm sitting there talking to her, she's like, who the frick is this chick sitting here talking to me, and why won't she shut up?
Because it was
I've
like,
been there.
here's
Yeah.
the thing. It was like not like it was really random but specific conversation. I don't even remember what it was. But it was like really random but like oddly specific. And I was just like, wow, like this is a lot.
I knew who she
Stalker.
was, and we had talked already. So I'm
Yeah.
going
I
to
mean,
guess.
You already had the baseline.
I'm gonna
you
guess
know.
the conversation was something that we had either talked about or something that I
Probably.
knew she was like involved in or had done, but she didn't know that I knew.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Can you like leave me alone?"
but
basically,
we're
without
besties
saying it.
now. It's great.
Yeah,
We get
She still
along.
does
And that was in 2020.
That was
in
no, that was in
2022.
2022. Because like between 2020 and 2022, I like made a few trips out to Nashville, played writers rounds, met a lot of people, just kind of networked around. But 2022 in March was like the last one I basically made, and then I made one in June of 2022, and then I never left.
Nice.
she stayed with me and then
Congrats.
canceled her
Like
flight.
unintentionally, just stayed. So yeah.
So, give us your backstory, Tori. How did you get into the whole music scene in Nashville?
With Nashville, I was 7 and discovered Taylor Swift, and was like, I want to be Taylor Swift. And then my older brother got a guitar, and I was the annoying younger sister that was like, well, I want one. And so I saved up all of my allowance money, and I went and bought a guitar. And because Taylor Swift moved to Nashville, that's where I wanted to move. So when it came time to pick a college, I chose one in Nashville. And I
Went to
left
Belmont?
knowing, went to Belmont University, left knowing I wasn't going to be moving back. And then sophomore year, I got my first apartment.
I don't know if your family thought that though.
No,
I
they
think they
knew.
thought
I think my dad knew.
deep,
My
but deep
dad
down
told
they were like,
me.
oh, maybe she'll come back.
Yeah, like my mother right now, she's in the process of she's not coming
Processing.
home. Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad told me over the summer, he was like, I had that whole crisis happening when you were still in high school because I knew that when you went, you weren't going to come back. So,
And where were you from?
Virginia.
Cool.
I forgot to mention that.
It's
Yep.
crazy that y'all are from a complete opposite.
Yeah.
ends of the
Literally.
United
Yeah.
States.
Literally
And
the
it
complete
met,
opposite.
literally in the center,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a little center east, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Crazy.
pretty nuts.
I
But
know, I
we're
always
very
say
I feel
that.
like we're very similar. I've
We
had
are.
we're roommates as well, for those of you that did not
yeah.
know. But we're pretty similar. I've had bad experiences with roommates in a way.
Same.
Not bad. Like it was just not the greatest like thing. But then
It just didn't fit.
we we really molded. It was great.
Yeah.
And
And
then
y'all
we get
travel together and you
Yeah.
do
We
shows
travel
together.
together.
and-
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
tour
Yeah.
together and
I've only ever seen both y'all together. Like I've never met you
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
We
you
play
know,
solo
so.
gigs, though.
yeah, we play solo gigs.
Right. right.
It's
Oh, you
just-
do. Oh, you do.
When we travel,
That's cool.
when we travel, we just usually will
Sure.
tour together.
yeah. Most
Yeah.
times I've seen y'all, it's all been in Florida. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just, it's
It's-
safer.
that and it's
Mhm.
just fun.
It's
It
more
brings a
fun.
different
Sure.
energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot
Yeah.
nicer having somebody for a 9-hour car ride than by yourself.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it-
Except when I'm silent. So
Yeah.
Are you the quiet one?
In the car, yeah.
in the car, yeah.
Do you get car sick?
Yeah.
I do. It's like
Yeah.
my burden to bear in life.
Yeah.
I get so motion sick.
Yes, like I have to sit in the front seat for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah.
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 If I don't, it's a rough ride, man.
I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
Good times.
So yeah,
No, those are all good stories. If you see us laughing or smiling all the time, it's because we've known everybody kind of in this room knows these stories, but we're kind of introducing you to him for the very first time.
You also
maybe not
just-
Jordan.
You can't help but smile at me. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
that.
So tell us about you just played our new Queen of Country showcase this past Friday.
Did.
Y'all did a phenomenal job. Y'all played with
Thank you.
Kayleigh
Thank you.
Bishop, who y'all have looked up to. Now they're kind of like on the same level because now you've played 2 shows with her in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It was an amazing show, though. It was so much fun. Crowd was great. The overall environment was really cool.
yeah.
The venue was cool.
The venue was really cool.
And we raised, I think it was a little over $700 for the Good for
Wow.
Girls initiative. So
Good.
that was pretty cool.
That's great.
But yeah, it was a great show. We've been doing a lot of shows this weekend. We had one cancellation, but we kind of needed the break.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying like I'm part of the show.
I mean, you really are.
I'm trying out.
You're
for
always
the,
At
part
this
of the
point.
show.
I'm trying out for the lead triangleist
Yes.
for the band.
Yeah. He thought about getting a cajon.
Yeah, Cajon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually it was bongos. I was trying.
Oh, was it bongos?
Yeah,
We can
we're at
put-
Guitar Center. I was like, you know what? There's not enough bongos in country music. Like,
Yeah.
I really need to make this work.
I'll learn how to play harmonica. You can play the bongos.
Please do it. Please do
Get
it.
Taylor to play the ukulele.
And then it's just
Yeah.
not country anymore.
Yeah. I can just see it now. Join the club. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be great.
But we've been talking a lot about that, about how artists have slowly been like taking the country out of country music and just adding a bunch of weird stuff to it.
Yeah,
Needed
I mean,
because-
I'm guilty. In my song "Back on My Harley," there's a small steel drum part, just a really small,
Yeah,
small
but-
little clip.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a Florida song, so I just wanted a little taste.
At
You know?
least
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not like snap beats. Or
No.
You're not
I'm
trying to do it-
honestly, I'm not opposed to it. I would do almost anything to try it and like to have fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's my whole sound.
That- yeah.
Like you were saying,
Yeah.
like you found your sound.
Right.
Like that, I don't think that's my sound. But
Yeah.
you know, for maybe a first verse or something like that, I might be.
You never know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta try new stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about your sound.
Yes.
Can you explain your sound a little bit? Now I've heard you perform your like acoustic sets, and I've listened to your original music, which is very good,
thanks.
like recorded. And do you mean vocally your sound, like kind of
Yeah.
like your technique and whatnot? Because you have a lower register.
I have a lower
female voice.
register.
I love that.
Thanks. And like
Yeah.
a raspy
Mhm.
kind of voice too. So that's kind of what I mean by like sound wise. I've tried so many other, I feel like genres, but it never felt like me.
Mhm.
Where I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. And having country backgrounds, my dad's from Georgia and grew up on a lot of bluegrass and gospel and whatnot. And I think it's kind of a full circle moment. It just took me a while to get there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you trying to like stretch your voice, like to try to sing higher or something like that, and it just like
Yeah.
wasn't really working?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I tried just different things with my voice to see if they could do it. And I do have like a falsetto.
Mhm.
It's very like airy in a way.
It sounds really good.
And that's just like, that's kind of how my voice is. It's kind of like even when I talk, I think when I hear myself back, as many of us know, we don't like to hear ourselves talk.
I love it.
You love it?
No, not really. But
I was about to
actually,
say,
yeah,
you're a
it's like
special breed.
narcissist. Yeah, no.
I just, I don't know. I don't like to hear myself
No,
back.
it's
No.
cringy for sure.
But like,
Yeah.
like sometimes like my voice like drops off like as I'm like talking. So it's kind of like,
into a vocal fry kind of thing.
Yeah,
You
a
just
little
did
bit.
that.
like a little bit. Like
Yeah.
when I, at the end of my like sentences.
And you do that like at the end of a line.
Sometimes, yeah.
That's cool.
Like I automatically have like this thing. I don't know. But it took me a while to get there because music's been a part of my whole life. And I knew when
Mhm.
I was younger, like I would sing, like I would rap. Don't come at me.
She still
Um,
does if we get the request.
No.
Eminem.
What do
It's
you
the
rap?
right song.
What do
Like
you rap?
I didn't freestyle. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't,
like-
don't get a hold of yourself. I didn't freestyle.
Give us something right now.
no.
You know?
Yeah.
What do you rap? Like
Like-
a
like,
popular song or
I'm
something?
talking
You
about
just
like when I was like younger.
yeah.
I would listen to Eminem, 50 Cent. Like
We're
I
a
know.
bad girl, huh?
I know.
Bad.
I know. No,
Yeah,
but
girl.
here's the thing. I would filter myself, like
Oh,
language
yeah,
wise.
yeah,
like I would
yeah.
filter myself. My mom was impressed. It was all about the rhythm. Like I got all my rhythm. I love my parents so much, but I definitely got my rhythm from my mommy. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, Papa T. Sorry, Daddy.
Yeah.
but
Is your
I,
dad musical?
So he grew up listening and playing bluegrass music. Actually, he played stand-up bass. I don't know how, because there's no frets on it, and I feel like I could get away with it, but I just have never really dabbled into that. But yeah, so I definitely got, I think, my music gold talents from my dad's side of the family.
Cool.
But definitely all the rhythm came from my mom. Like there's no doubt about that.
No.
So yeah, but that's kind of like sound wise. It kind of took me a while to like, and I think it's more of, I knew what my sound was. It was being comfortable with it and being confident.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the biggest things that took me a while to get there. But with my family, my friends, like Patrick, stuff like that, they were like, no, like that's you. Like embrace it, own it.
Yeah.
And so I tried.
That's awesome.
I
Good
tried.
for you. And then how about you? Was your musical journey something where you had to discover your voice, or were you just kind of born with this, the sound you sort of have today? Or like, obviously you've grown since you were younger,
Yeah, yes.
but, was that like a journey for you?
A little bit. It wasn't as big of a journey, but I started out with wanting to be like, oh, Taylor Swift,
Mm-hmm.
And then I started listening to a lot of other types of genres in high school, and it kind of went a bunch of different ways. And then once I landed in Nashville and I started writing with that community, I started finding other songwriters in town that I looked up to, that I loved, Kaylee Bishop being one of them, and finding the like storytelling of it. And then finding artists and writers like Ashley McBride and Lainey Wilson and those types of people. And I was like, that's what I love. And that's what I started really being, that's what I was, I think, kind of always drawn to, but that's like, that became the biggest influence. And that started being kind of my sound for it. And that's kind of when I discovered
Relatable. That's definitely
discovered my
relatable.
sound. Yeah. Was finding the people that I have an appreciation for all music, because all of it takes some level of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But those were the writers and the sounds and the instrumentation that I was immediately like, I love that. Like, that's what I want to sound like.
It makes sense. Yeah, I do agree. I think you've achieved that while still being yourself. You know, you're not like a copy of Lainey Wilson or nothing like that. But like, yeah, it's very good. So yeah, it's cool. For me, it's like similar to you. Like I have like a lower singing voice.
Right.
So like I'm a baritone bass. It's hard to find songs to perform. Like, are you just transposing everything?
Almost every song I play.
Every song. Or the only reason I don't transpose it, because I do it an octave lower.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so it is kind of tough. Like, I always wanted to be that like high tenor guy, just like belting that note or whatever. And I hated singing back in the day. I hated it, but it wasn't until I like dropped it and then got comfortable and was like, oh, actually, this is me.
Yeah.
It's like, I call it like the burden of a baritone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like, it's what I have. I'm sorry.
Right.
Burden of a baritone. That sounds like
I
a
like that.
song.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Song
Like where
title.
you really showcase like the bass notes or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I
Like a
think you
t-shirt.
should make bourbon and be bourbon of a baritone.
Maybe. We'll see.
That'd be pretty cool.
Is your-
That'd be
are you a good idea girl?
She
like
is.
you're just like a lot
Sometimes.
of good ideas.
Sometimes.
She's very creative in that
Bourbon of the
department.
baritone.
In the
Wow.
last 25 or 24, 25
years.
25 years, in the last 24 hours, she's been my idea again.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're working on some big
I don't know
things.
about that.
But yeah, like I just really resonated with that, like finding your sound, because
Yeah.
like, okay, who else is there?
It's not
you know?
easy.
It's not.
Yeah.
So-
And like growing up, like I had a lot of different musical influences. Like you were saying, like different genres. Like I love so many different types of music. But growing up, I listened to a lot of obviously country on my dad's side. But then my mom's, she listened to Earth, Wind and Fire, Barry White, tons of just like R&B, soul. And I think that's kind of where my music kind of just slides into. It's kind of like they kind of mold together in a way. That's kind of how I feel. I don't know.
That's cool. I think it should be that way. I think you you were saying too, like you were listening to different genres.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting when like people only listen to one genre. It's like how can you even like grow or like come out with another project after the one you just finished? Like how can you? It's just going to be a repeat of the same thing, just recycled.
Right.
So
Right.
you got to have something that's like, oh, well, this is country, but it's a little more of this. It's a little more of
Yeah.
that, and just pull from it and just still make it under the umbrella
It's still
of country.
you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I feel like with singles, even like when you release songs, like they all sound like you, but they all just have like different aspects and different sounds to them,
So I've known y'all for a long time, so I know that y'all are pretty polished. We've done quite a few shows together. I've seen you do, I don't know how many shows, but it's been quite a bit. So what advice would you give to somebody, you know, that new girl going to Nashville that wants to be the next Taylor Swift? Like, other than not being Taylor Swift, I think we can all agree here, like, some people copy a little too much.
There's enough,
Yeah. But what advice would you give somebody, you know, just freshly starting, trying to get their feet wet in Nashville?
You go ahead.
You go ahead.
You go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Okay. We usually a lot of times answer questions sometimes like in unison by accident.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to look at each other. We're like, you go.
Ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. I would say definitely one of my biggest things is to be yourself. That's one of the biggest things of just stop worrying and trying to be what's already made. Kind of like you were saying, like the next Taylor Swift. Like, it's great, I think, to look up and have influences, but to kind of take that and still make it your own. And one of the other things is networking by going and supporting other artists and supporting them in a way of not knowing what you might learn, not what you're going to get out of it. I think that's one of the biggest things to do when going to Nashville, because that's what I was kind of told. You know, I had other people in Nashville that, you know, kind of looked out for me, and people who weren't in Nashville, like Patrick at Southern Fellow, you know, always, you know, in my corner and rooting for me to be exactly who I was. You know, I have a little crazy side, you know, but like in the best way, you know, but I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said, I think, about, and I think you probably would agree.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Absolutely.
But there's also probably more. So I'll turn the question, I guess, over to you. I'm taking over. Sorry,
well,
Patrick. No.
On top of everything that you just said, because I completely agree. I think one of the biggest things is going out and supporting people, because you never know what you're going to get out of it for yourself unintentionally.
Who you'll meet.
Like,
look at you and I. Like, I look at that and like the things that we've done together. Like, the only reason is because we went out to support our friends.
Yes.
Which were two separate people.
Yes.
But we happened to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
And like so many opportunities and just company, I guess, too, have come from that.
Yeah.
You know?
And we both helped each other grow.
Oh,
you know, same way with Kaylee Bishop. Kaylee Bishop was one of the first writers in Nashville that I just went. One of my friends was like, "Oh, there's this guy Dave Finley playing around down the street. Like, do you want to go?" And we went, and Kaylee happened to be one of the writers there, and we went every Monday, and she was there pretty consistently. And she became like one of the first writers in Nashville that I was like, she has a crazy storytelling ability, and like that's the kind of writer that I want to be.
Yeah.
And so just because I went with one of my friends, because I was like, oh, let's go support these people and like show up and go listen and just like have a good time, but mainly be there for them, I started learning more about myself.
Yeah.
But also, we got asked this last week during Jeep Beach Radio. And I think I said it then, was one of the most important things to know and that I would want to tell somebody is you can't start crawling and then start running. You have to walk. You have to walk before you start running. And so I think one of the hardest things for me to learn was like, if I want to be here, I have to figure out how to get there. And then I need to figure out what I can do tomorrow to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wanted to be a really good songwriter. Well, you can't just immediately start writing the really good songs that you want to write. You have to work on it. You have to start walking. And so it was like, what can I do? Okay, well, I can start writing with this person. Okay, so I'm going to go support another writer at a different round. Well, there's this other writer there that I really like how they write. And that's the kind of writer that I want to be. Well, let me go talk to them and see if they'll take a chance and write with me. And so I did. And then I became a better writer. And then I became a better writer. And now I'm starting to write the songs that I wanted to write when I first got to Nashville.
Same.
So like you constantly have to be like, okay, clearly I can't become that tomorrow, but what can I do tomorrow to reach that goal? Right. And once I accomplish that, what can I do the next day?
Yeah. And we've written so many songs that are not good.
Yeah.
Did y'all write together?
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually have written a lot more in the last year together.
Yeah.
Because one, I feel like we're on the same page with a lot of things. 2, we live together. So if somebody has a or an idea at 11 p.m. while the other person's already in their room, like in bed, which is usually me, because I'm a grandma, we can write it. And majority of the songs I feel like that we've written together, in our opinion, have been our best songs that we've been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Tori's one of my favorite people to write with. Like anytime, and we have rights separate from each other as well. Like we write with other people and other artists, other songwriters. And if we're stuck or like, cause we have a studio in our apartment and, we'll have, people come over and we'll do a write and we'll be stuck. Both of us, like sometimes like I'll be shopping somewhere or I'll be in my room doing who knows what. I do like to shop, but I get it from a mommy. But
I'm very aware.
We drag Patrick with us.
We drag Patrick when we're in town. We drag him along with us. He loves it. But
he usually gets something.
We usually sometimes we usually will end up calling each other in the room and being like, "Hey, we have this idea. This is what we have so far. We don't know where to go with this.
Yeah.
What do you think we should do?" And usually I feel like we are able to somehow figure it out and write a pretty dang good song.
Yeah. We're like the same type of writer, but we have different strengths.
Yes.
So we work really well in the writing room together.
Yeah.
Because our minds usually go to the same place.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But like what she brings to the writer's room is different than what I bring to the writing room. Mm-hmm. But like we just work really well playing off each other.
What do you think the different strengths would be like lyrics and melody or just
kind of like that. So like
so
we talked about this the other day.
Lyric.
I'm like I'm the lyric person more than I am like the idea or the melody or the guitar, and
I'm more melody, guitar. And then like if we have to do like a acoustic demo kind of a thing, I usually will do that.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, cause like I usually just talk in the right of like what we're trying to say, and she somehow figures out how to actually word it.
That's funny. I'm a little more similar like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, it needs to be this, and this line needs to be about that, and that needs to be that, and the words should be like I'm good at like that, but the lyric thing is like that's what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah.
So that's awesome. That and like how insane that like not only roommates, not only like friends, like also writers. Like that's so rare.
Like we really got lucky with it.
Yeah.
And
my gosh,
we talk about that all the time of like everything that has happened in our journey, everything that it all led to like us meeting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Like there's a lot of things that it like, I don't know how it happened. Like it's crazy that happened. Going to Belmont, like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they get so many applications, and I went into the songwriting department, and that when I applied was so small that like they didn't accept hardly anybody. And like I watched other application videos and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get into this. Like there's no way.
Congrats though.
Well,
I mean,
thank
that's
you.
amazing.
And I remember getting the letter from Belmont and from their songwriting department that like you got in. And I think about it, I'm like, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met her.
Mm-hmm. No.
Because going to that round that I agreed to go see Dave Finley and seeing Kaylee Bishop, I also saw a writer, Lance Carpenter. Mm-hmm. And through Lance is how I met Taylor. So it's like all of these things that I don't know how they happened, but like they did.
Yeah.
It all led to this moment right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you wouldn't have gone to Belmont, I at some point would have probably moved to Nashville. But in like 2020, 2021, I was like, okay, how do I get there without, I used to go for like 2 weeks at a time.
We were both kind of struggling.
You and I both,
that's when I first started going to Nashville, and I was like, there's something here. Yeah,
but it was kind of like a stuck, like, I don't know what the next step kind of is, because like I need to move here, but I'm like, I got to figure out like a job. I got to figure out things. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I'm very like leery on roommates, like in that situation, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to just move in with somebody that like, I don't know, especially as a musician, like many musicians know, like, you have to practice, you have to do stuff. And it's like, if you have a roommate, a lot of times, and they're not in music too, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know. Like, should I be playing this right now? Like, are they going to be upset kind of a thing?
Yeah.
But it everything just kind of worked out
it all just
in a scary way.
Yeah.
broke for a while, still am.
Yeah.
But I'm probably the happiest I've ever been, actually, though.
Yeah.
Full-time
I mean, like-
musician, not making a ton of money,
But making enough.
but making enough to live
But
and call it our,
supporting.
and
Yeah.
call our
Yeah.
full-time
That's,
job.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty happy. Other than when I'm with Patrick, it's just
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a tough crowd.
You know I gotta.
That's a
I gotta
tough crowd.
poke at you a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just been amazing. I've known Taylor for 5 years now, give or take, and
2. About 2. Yeah. Because I think the first time we ever met in person was your New Queens of Country at Crimson House
Yeah.
in October 2022.
the
Oh,
night-
I did the sound for that. event.
Yeah,
I
you
remember that,
did.
the
Yeah.
nightmare feels longer than that. You sure?
I don't know.
But yeah. So I've known you for 2 years because I remember now it was Crimson House, and we had a hurricane then. It was supposed to be at
Yeah.
Chase's on the beach.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that's right.
And Taylor was like,
There's this weird girl that won't
there's
stop
this
talking.
weird girl that wants to come down with me, like, can that happen? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess.
And usually I feel like, well, sometimes Patrick will be like, yeah, I need more,
And
I
I
need
love
more
me.
people, or like I need like to figure out like, I need somebody that's, strong. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm your girl, but like to find out who is, but like I know this one chick like who's I think pretty decent, or like I did that with Kaylin Cole.
decent.
Pretty
Mhm.
decent.
Super adequate.
I'm going to put that on a hat and
What?
start wearing that.
Pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
She's pretty decent.
I'm gonna put that on
I
a
was like,
hat.
I mean, she's better than me. So I was like, so that's kind of how I was like, I think you'd like her.
I'll stick my logo on the side of it really small
Pretty
and then just
decent.
put pretty decent
Yeah.
in like quotations on the front.
Yeah. I think you should.
Oh, dude, on your website, like testimonials.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People say she is pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, she's really decent, and
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Patrick.
Um,
You're not too bad yourself.
I can't even remember like the real song title. I labeled it "Dirty Jeans."
Oh, my gosh.
old pair of jeans.
Old pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a song you're writing too?
No,
No.
Oh,
No.
no. You're gonna write it.
We wrote it
They
a couple
already
weeks
wrote
ago.
it.
Taylor
Oh,
and I
you
wrote
did?
it with another friend in Nashville.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
He
calls
calls
it
it
dirty
dirty
jeans.
I call
Dirty
it dirty
jeans.
jeans.
That's just gross.
I mean, Patrick did come up with it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's just these two girls have really proven themselves as songwriters, and it's been like amazing to be part of a little bit of the growth. The past 5 years for her, the past 2 years for her,
Yeah.
because Taylor used to call me all the time, and like when she was still living in California, like, I'm doing this. Do you think it's right? I'm like, I'm not an artist, Taylor. I have no idea what you're doing, but
Yeah. But I
it
trusted
sounds
his
good to
opinion.
me.
Yeah.
So let's roll with it,
Yeah.
And she did that, and then when Tori came into the picture, I was like, okay, Taylor, you didn't bring anybody crazy into the fold. Like this
Yeah.
is
No.
legit.
Yeah.
This is
Well, a little bit, but
this is somebody that I can see you working with, and it's just been that way ever since with Tori. So it's just
That's crazy. 5 years.
5 years, been a while.
I mean, you've seen me like from the almost like basically like the get go
Yeah,
of like starting this.
and I've seen a lot of artists, and I feel like y'all are on the right direction. Obviously, we've had Priscilla Block that's done a couple
Yeah.
rounds with us. She's getting big. Tucker Wetmore's done a couple rounds in Nashville with us. So, I feel like y'all are on the cusp of, being something for the masses and not just me. Like,
thank you.
because I always request songs that
Dirty jeans.
Dirty Jeans.
Yeah.
That should be on the radio. And y'all are holding another song too,
We're working on it.
Angel with Red Wings, that I
Yes.
just completely love.
Oh, that's kind of a cool title.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really a cool song.
It's one of our favorites and
Um,
Patrick's.
But
Yeah.
they have some great songs, but they also have. It was funny because y'all put a lot of people to tears on Saturday. Like we literally had to bring out. People were bringing out napkins.
Yeah, because for tissues.
Yeah.
For
For
tissues.
tissues.
And
Oh
we didn't have
my
any tissues.
gosh.
Yeah.
Was it just like the storytelling? Like,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the,
It's
the actual
the
song?
song.
It's
The
actual
song,
songs
yeah.
just because they're
Dang.
so. It goes back
Storytelling?
to our songwriting
Yeah,
is
wow.
so, I feel like in the sense of like relatable. We talk about things that majority of people can somehow relate to in some point of in their lives. Like Tori's debut single, Too Soon.
Yeah.
If you've ever lost.
About a dying dog.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever lost, you know, your little best friend, you know, or something like that, like you feel it to the core. Every time she sings it, I still feel it to the core. Like it hurts. Okay.
Sorry.
No, but thank you for writing it.
But yeah, I mean,
but
people just related to it that night, and you know, even before, I've always related to your music. You know, with with all your songs, especially Too Soon, because that's like the. I used to think I'd Be Better Off on a Pine Box was like the saddest song I've ever heard in my life, but then I heard Too Soon, and I was like, oh boy, like this is this is terrible, and you know, you don't really have like. You have like sad songs, but not really. They're more like breakup songs,
right?
Like Join the Club, you know, that kind of thing. They're like really hardcore, like you're a loser, get away from me.
Yeah,
like,
but without like slashing your tires vibe.
Yeah, without slashing your tires vibe.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, so if if you're in the mood to cry or dump your guy,
yeah,
you definitely need to check out their music for sure. They got a few songs coming. What are you going to release next? You work on something next?
I'm working on something.
Yeah, it's in the process.
I can't tell you yet.
You can't tell me yet?
No.
So you need to follow them on wherever you stream your music, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all that good stuff. But man, it's been a great chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate y'all coming, doing some shows, being part of New Queens of Country, helping us raise money for a good cause, all that good stuff. Hopefully we'll have you down here again, not too soon, but
yeah. Thanks for having us.
I see what you did there.
but no, it's been a great time.
No, we'll be back down soon.
Where can people check out your music and check you out on social media?
You can find me at Tori Hughes Music. Tori with an I, Hughes is Huggies put together. ToriHughesMusic.com or Tori Hughes Music on any streaming platform. Or social platform.
Yeah.
Tori Hughes on streaming.
You really need that, like.
I know.
Something.
She wants me to put it on a T-shirt.
I want just like
put together.
Like
Hughes.
Something. I don't know. That's really funny. But you can find me anywhere at Taylor Teasley Music on any social platform. I found out you can Google my name, Taylor Teasley, and it actually all pops up there for you. My music, my socials, any
famous
music videos.
Oh yeah.
You helped me. So thank
famous.
you. I don't know about that, but I have you to thank for a lot of things. So yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here on the Luncheonette. We will see you soon.
What's going on, y'all? Country artist Taylor Teasley here.
And I'm Tori Hughes.
We just ate at Jimmy Hula's, and I'll tell you this. I'm a California girl, but I just had a California burrito from here. One of the best ones I've ever had.
Oh yeah, I had the Chimichurri bowl. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not great at pronunciations, but it was really good. Top notch. So
Highly recommend. If you're ever in Ormond Beach, this is the spot.